Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am way behind today. I got behind the 8 ball today, so let's get it going. Nick Burafedo from Link2. Link2's one-day special, or until we run out. There's an opportunity to invest in Ripple at 1/2 the valuation at which Ripple itself bought back its Series C preferred stock earlier this year. If you remember, they were valued at $15 billion. And my understanding is that you're basically buying the shares on Link2 right now at about half of that price. If you invest $25,000, you get an even deeper valuation discount. It started this morning. I haven't checked to see if they have much left or not. They typically run out of the Ripple equity pretty quick. So I'll put a link to this in the very top of the description of this video. Breaking: Grayscale has partnered with trading firms Jane Street and Virtue to convert GBTC into a Bitcoin ETF. Approval next week, ? Folks, look, as negative as things have been lately, all it would take is something like this to spark. I mean, this market would blast off. It would be a massive blast off. Let me write that down. I need a sheet of paper because I've been busy doing stuff. Let me see if I can get a sheet of paper. I can't get a sheet of paper, so I'm going to write it on my calendar. Massive blast off. Write it down. If this happens, you will see a massive blast off, period. Okay, moving along, because there's some really disgusting things in the news today because Gary Gensler was on CNBC with the toady Jim Cramer, and that is nauseating, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. Ripple today, we're launching the CBDC Innovate Challenge with a total prize pool of $197,000. What company have you ever heard of in the history of the world that does a central bank digital currency challenge? I don't think I've heard of any company in my lifetime that openly and all the time talks about working with central banks. A Ripple doesn't come along but every 100 years, folks. This is not your ordinary company. This company is a big freaking deal. I hope you understand that by now. Just the fact that I've been able to make videos for 4 years on one company and one digital asset tells you what this thing is, okay? There's a reason that people are locked onto this thing. All right, moving along. Now we have Brian Brooks on stage with Brooks Entwistle from Ripple, okay? And listen, make no mistake, folks, stablecoins are at the very center of everything that's about to happen. Listen to this.
What I would say is,
I'm trying to get to the beginning. One second.
Can I just put an underline under what Brooks just said? I think, coming back to your question about what's the temperature in Washington around these things, what I would say is, stablecoins are actually the tip of the spear on crypto regulation, and it's the one area where I think there is weirdly a really strong bipartisan consensus. I mean, there's not a lot of that in the world today, so man, bipartisan on consensus on anything is a good thing. So this gets to Brooks's point about disclosure. When I was the controller, I signed the first regulatory guidance that defined what a stablecoin was that would be allowed inside the US banking system. And what I said was that a stablecoin, to be in the banking system, has to have 3 features, okay? First, it has to be backed by risk-free assets, meaning it cannot be backed by junk bonds, long-dated corporate securities, or whatever. I used to joke that one of the popular stablecoin projects was backed by 68% bank deposits, 12% partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, and a set of other things, right? That's not a stablecoin. It has to be backed by risk-free assets, meaning insured bank deposits and short-term treasuries and nothing else. Second, it had to be redeemable on demand and at par. So if you meet those 3 conditions, in other words, if you really are a traveler's check, except you're operating over the internet, you're a stablecoin.
Okay. All right. Now, so then we had Gary Gensler on, I want to play you a couple of clips of this. You had Gary Gensler on Jim Cramer. Now, folks, I'm speaking from experience here. Jim Cramer is like the government toady, okay? This guy throws the ball up so that they can dunk it. Everything is scripted with these people. The guy literally, in essence, works for the government. The same turnstile that is the SEC, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, the Treasury, and all of that. This guy's a part of that, and part of his job is to, when these guys come on, to tee it up for them. That's the reason that these guys won't go on Fox Business and because they know they might actually have to answer real questions instead of having the ball thrown up in the air so they can dunk it. So here he's doing, but the important thing for you to get out of this is that he teased this guy. He's teeing Gary Gensler up, but he's giving him the talking points that Gary Gensler obviously wants to talk about.
Of the SEC, yes, Chairman Gary Gensler. Chairman, it is always great for you to come on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're such a great guy.
Not quite sure.
Good to be with you, Jim.
There we go. All right, Mr. Chairman, let's just go right to it. You have been adamant that there should be some degree of coordination with the CFTC and you about trying to make it so that we have more clarity, let's say, on cryptocurrency. Where's the state of play crypto right now?
Look, this is a highly speculative asset class. We've known this for a long time. The ups and downs of this speculative asset class, Bitcoin, and hundreds of other tokens. And many of these tokens offer the investing public, or the investing public is hoping for a return. Just like when they invest in others financial assets we call securities. And many of these financial assets, crypto financial assets, have the key attributes of a security. So some of them, they're under the Securities and Exchange Commission. Some, like Bitcoin, and that's the only one, Jim, I'm going to say.
Take close note of that, folks. The only one he's going to say is Bitcoin. He won't say Ethereum.
Because I'm not going to talk about any one of these tokens, but sure.
All right, the rest of that segment is just typical Gary BSing. So we'll go on to the next one because Jim Cramer intentionally tees him up on Tether, and this is important.
Okay, well, one of the things that I love about what you've always believed in is transparency.
Oh yeah, Gary Gensler's this guy's the definition of transparency, Jim. I mean, these guys lie for a freaking living, don't they?
You mentioned stablecoin. I did not bring that up, but there is one that is regarded as being perhaps not as transparent as we like, which is called Tether. And it's very big, about 60 billion. If they told us what they were really in, what they had their money in, wouldn't that be better for everybody?
Look, transparency is a key part of the investing formula. It's kind of part of the basic bargain that you get to, on a quarterly basis, know something about the companies, and if material events happen, like they do all the time, and companies make additional filings called 8K filings, and the public gets to decide what risks they want to take. That's the basic bargain. Similar to stable coins, we have something called money market funds. And in money market funds...
All right, and now you're going to listen to more Gary BS, so we won't listen anymore. But the point is, and Eleanor Terrett throws it out here, this is the second time in a month Gary Gensler has stated Bitcoin classified as a commodity that should fall under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. He says, my predecessors and others have said that they are a commodity. His predecessors also said ETH is a commodity. And then John Deaton weighs in. It's so obvious. Gary Gensler is on video multiple times saying Ethereum is a security while at MIT. He's on video saying he doesn't believe the SEC will give Ethereum a free pass. But Hinman and Clayton did give a free pass, but served Ripple and XRP as regulatory sacrificial lamb. And remember, don't forget, Gary Gensler was in the meetings with Jay Clayton. Right, I think, as I recall, he was meeting with Jay Clayton like on the day before or after, right around when he dropped the lawsuit. Gary Gensler was there. He's well aware of it. He was involved, folks. I mean, these people are not good people, folks. They are shady. They are some shady. This is one shady government we have, and it makes me sick. Watcher guru Justin, according to a report by Morgan Stanley, the Ethereum transition to proof of stake will not solve scaling problems. Folks, it's almost like you can see this narrative forming, because trust you me, if Gary Gensler ever decided he was going after Ethereum, he would make sure and let his Wall Street buddies like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan know. He'd make sure and give them a heads up if he was forced into a situation to do that. Okay, so you're kind of seeing something, and you're also seeing something with Tether. Tether CTO says there have been coordinated attacks by traditional hedge funds trying to short USDT. And that's the other thing. You make no mistake about this either. If you think that our government does not coordinate with all their Wall Street friends to make things happen, think again, folks. That Luna thing, I don't believe that just happened, okay? Now, then John Deaton, Congressional Oversight Committee. Now, this was a tweet from Eleanor Terrett about how the House Appropriations Committee has approved a bill that recommends funding amounts to various government agencies. The committee recommended just over $2.2 billion go to the SEC for 2023, but made the following requests related to crypto. In other words, and she translates it, in other words, here's the money you requested to regulate crypto, but please try not to spend it all on regulation by enforcement, the way you have been doing. In other words, the Congress, who is not on our side, is giving Gary Gensler the money he's asking for, while Gary flips the bird to all the investors and the Congress about how he's going to regulate by enforcement no matter what they say. So whose side are they really on? Because John Deaton says, you give Gary Gensler $2.2 billion with please stop hurting innovation. What next? He files suit versus the exchanges for selling securities without telling them which ones are securities. Are you going to say pretty please? Then tomorrow, John Deaton is going to be on Charles Payne. You need to watch this, folks. Understand this. The more views that Charles Payne gets, the more likely that he's going to put John Deaton on again and bring light to this case. It's important. So John needs all of our support. I will make sure and watch myself. Now, this is about as creepy as what can happen to anyone. Anonymous sent a message to the Luna founder, Do Kwon, and look at this line out of what he says. I'm not going to play it because there's music and I don't know what the copyright issues are. There is no doubt that there are many more crimes to be discovered in your trail of destruction. Uh-oh. This is the last group that you want to have on you. American football quarterback Trevor Lawrence, $24 million signing bonus paid out in Bitcoin is now worth $8 million. Ouch. That ouch is an understatement. There's so many little things I wanted to make sure I touched on before I go. The Voyager has issued a notice of default to 3AC after the beleaguered hedge fund failed to make the required payments on its loan of 15,250 Bitcoin and $350 million in USDC. Then there's this. FTX is seeking a path to buy Robinhood. Folks, you're seeing the rise. You're finding out right now which companies are going to be the behemoths and which ones are going to die as a result of the recent downturn. And we know who the winners are going to be. CoinGecko decided to do a whole video on one of them. How does Ripple aim to solve inefficient systems and cross-border transactions? We're going to share on all things Ripple XRP, from its current legal battle with the SEC to how it paves the way for future potential in 2022. They did a video here, but if you go to their YouTube channel, it's like a 9-minute video they did. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, last week said that he was in Switzerland and he was invited by central banks? Well, now we know where he was. It's called the Point Zero Forum, and they hosted him there. Current and future real economy. He was on stage with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Crypto.com, and the State Secretariat for International Finance, whatever that is. I went to this Point Zero Forum because look, folks, I've told you for 4 years, We're the adults in the room. It's not Bitcoin. It's not proof of work. Proof of work doesn't work. That's a Ryan Zagone quote. I've told you it was never Bitcoin and Ethereum. We are the adults in the room. We have not been talking about dogs and monkeys and all this other kind of weird stuff and Shibu Inus. We've been talking, we've been having the adult conversation, and that is CBDCs. That is Nostro Vostro accounts. It is cross-border payments. It's the big boy club. We have not been dealing in all this Mickey Mouse, hey, there's a green candle, and so let's go chase that. That is not what we've been talking about, because I've told you for 4 years, we're the adults in the room. We've always been the adults in the room, and all this other Mickey Mouse stuff never made sense to me. Now look at the people that were at this forum, and remember, the central bankers invited Brad Garlinghouse, and the first guy you have is the central banker of central bankers, and that is Augustin Carstens of the BIS. These are the people. And as you go down through here, you will see major people. BlackRock Asset Management Vice Chairman. Just as you look through here, UBS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Global Blockchain Business Council, Swiss National Bank, Standard Chartered, DBS Bank, Onyx by JP Morgan is there. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This guy had tweeted this out from the conference with Brad Garlinghouse on stage, and he says, probably nothing. Oh, it's something, all right. And then here's CZ Binance was there. They put a lot of photos in their feed here of what was going on there at the conference. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that we've always been the adults in the room, and that's the fact.